What's going on? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Winning at Life Behind Enemy Lines. I'm your host, hashtag one time. And on today's show, we're going to be diving deep into a topic that is near and dear to my heart: hustling. Hustling behind enemy lines. I know a lot of you that listen. I know you, because everybody does, has somebody in the family that actually gets their hustle on. Well, today we're going to talk about what does it mean to hustle? How do we hustle behind enemy lines? And how we can ensure that our hustle aligns with our purpose and goals. Let's go ahead and get into the show. Glad you could join us on today. But before we get into hustling behind enemy lines today, I kind of want to put a twist on the show. And so I had an idea about reading a couple of the comments because, y'all, I really appreciate all of the support and those that are listening and those that are sharing on this podcast journey with me. I so appreciate it. But I said, let me put a little twist onto the show. And so I'm going to read a comment here. Not going to tell you who it's from. I'm just going to read the comment in honor and appreciation of a subscriber and a listener. They say, this is deep. Hopefully, what you're putting down is being picked up. Acknowledgement. Something most people have a hard time doing. It's crucial to overcoming the fear, the doubt, procrastination, and scarcity mindset. Overcoming these things can and will make you a winner. Thank you for teaching us. I'm honored. I am so honored by the comment. Thank you so very, very much for that comment. And if you enjoy the show, if you're listening, please like and share and subscribe. So I'll give this again at the end of the episode today, but you can reach me on Facebook, Fitzgerald Reynolds, YouTube at Kenneth Reynolds 7660, on Instagram, one time BEL1. That's ONETIMEBEL for behind enemy lines and the number one. All right. I really appreciate the support. Keep the comments going. I really want to know, I really want to hear what you think. So, but before I get started, allow me to set the tone of hustling, what hustling is. So, I go all the way back to probably the early 70s when disco was real happening in the clubs. I was young then. All I remember is that people wore really weird looking clothes. They wore some weird stuff. But there was a song out called The Hustle. It was a real popular song in the clubs. And I remember hearing it. It was called The Hustle. And I think John Travolta made The Hustle, the dance, popular. So, in preparation for the show today about hustling, I went back and I said, let me go on YouTube and search the hustle. And surprisingly, what came up was not only the song Do the Hustle, but there was actually a tutorial video of a couple teaching how to do the hustle. Stay with me now. Stay with me. And in the tutorial, after I looked at it, I said, you know what? It really takes something to do the hustle. I said, I guess it takes partnership, coordination, rhythm, and timing. Let me say that again. To do the hustle dance, According to the tutorial, you needed a partner. They needed to have some coordination. They needed to have rhythm, and they needed to have timing because you twirl them around and you the men had their part and the women had their part, and I know, I had a hard time trying to dance all of my life. I was not a dancer, and I did not go to clubs a whole lot. I hung out, and my mom had heard one time that I had went to a club. I was a lot younger, and boy, she was upset. And so the reason I didn't hang out in a lot of clubs because my mom told me when she found out, she said, "You know what? When the Lord comes, you gonna be at the party." And that scared me. And so I said, no, no more clubs here and there. I'll go on occasion. But the hustle dance and the hustle was the thing in the club. And in order to do it, you had to have partnership, coordination, rhythm, and you had to have timing. But by hustle, here's what I mean. Today, hustling looks totally different. What is hustling? And what is it today? What does that look like? I'll tell you, it deals with a lot of persistence, creativity, and drive. You've got to have it. Hustling is moving. It's about pushing through challenges and finding opportunities and making things happen in your life, even when the odds look like they are all against you. It's not just working hard, though, it's working smart. And most of all, I think hustling is hustling in your purpose, what you're supposed to be doing. It's staying zeroed in and refusing to quit, right? It's hustling and planning. You got to have a plan when you're hustling. Over the years, we have evolved to people working and making extra money because that job, just that job, is not keeping up with the rate of inflation, unemployment, and a whole lot of things. So people have to come up with their own job, their own hustle. And people have side hustles. If you make quilts and rugs, cakes and cupcakes, purses, sell jewelry, people are getting their hustle on. Never before in the history of a growing economy does everybody have the opportunity to monetize. And this is why I think in my head a lot of the times that the scripture says, and I'm not trying to preach to you, I'm just saying the scripture says people perish because of a lack of knowledge. Think about that. People perish because of the lack of knowledge, not the lack of money, not the lack of resources, not the lack of creative ideas that you have to help us get our hustle on. And that's what I mean. I was a hustler from way back, even in high school. In high school, I was a hustler on the weekends. On Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, you could find me at the Bonanza back there in the kitchen washing dishes. And as long as I could eat all the ribeyes, I could eat. The owner also owned a car lot. I bought my first car from him. It was a 1972 Chevy Nova with the driver's side floorboard in the back, all rusted out. I had to put towels in there to keep the heat in. But I was out there and I was hustling. But the way we hustle today has drastically evolved, especially after the pandemic. COVID-19 brought about a major shift in how people earn a living. One standout trend during COVID and even before is the rise of women owned businesses. Let me hit you with the numbers on that. According to a report by American Express, women started, y'all listen to this. According to a report by American Express, women started 1,821 new businesses every day in the United States between 2020 and 2023. Let me read that once, as old folks will say, the elders would say. Let me read that once again. Women started 1,821 new businesses every day in the United States between 2020 and 2023, nearly 25 years. And to make that even more significant, women of color accounted for 50% of those new businesses over that time. And let me hit you with the whammy on this one. These businesses has contributed over $1.8 trillion to the economy. Show me the money. And this is proof, though, that even in challenging times, when you're hustling behind enemy lines, people, especially women, shout out to our women, they find ways, they adapt, and they actually thrive in their hustle. They thrive in their hustle. John Hope Bryant, one of what I consider to be a great motivational speaker, but also a teacher in financial literacy. John Hope Bryant said, if you hang around 10 broke people long enough, you'll be the 11th. And that's from not getting the hustle on. And so what does that mean? What does hustling behind enemy lines actually mean? It's hustling in the face of adversity. It's creating opportunities when resources are scarce. It's staying zeroed in and leaving out the distractions that are everywhere. It's hustling with a plan. It's hustling with a purpose. It's hustling to where you have to ask yourself, why? Why? What's the why and why I'm hustling and preparing and doing and thriving and living out my purpose? I've actually heard it said before that life is the gift that God gives you. But living is the true testament of that life. You have a life, but living is something else. It's walking in your purpose. It's hustling in your purpose. It's hustling for a purpose, on purpose, because it magnifies what you were put on this earth for. But let's be real, though. Some of the things that can keep us hustling behind enemy lines is like we talked about on the last episode. It's the enemy within. Lack of purpose, lack of knowledge, lack of vision, lack of goals, lack of timing. All those things that I saw in that tutorial are what we need to get our hustle on today. Not the dance and not the song, but the true hustle that actually aids us walking in our purpose. Remember what it took, that partnership, that coordination, that rhythm, that timing. And so to hustle in your purpose, you've got to do one thing right away. If you feel you're not hustling in your purpose, you got to get started. You need to start by clarifying what your purpose is in life. If you don't know, get started there. And here's some steps. Here are a few steps. Define your way. Figure out what motivates you. Where's a problem that you can solve? Set clear and consistent goals about what you want to do. I can tell y'all right now, this podcast in 90 days will not look the way that it looks, because I'm committed to not only bringing content of what I believe people want to hear. It will survive because that's just the drive and the hustle in me. Invest in yourself. Invest time in yourself. Educate yourself about what you want to do, about what you want to hustle. Invest in the tools you need to succeed in order to get your hustle on, even behind enemy lines. But most of all, you've got to take action. Start small, but start now. Hustling is about momentum. Hey, look here. I hope you enjoyed the show today, Hustling Behind Enemy Lines. Before I wrap up this episode, let's talk about what's coming next. So, the next episode, living my best life behind enemy lines. We're going to be diving into the ultimate goal of living our best lives behind enemy lines. We'll also talk about what it truly means to live your best life, even when circumstances, challenges stand in your way. How you continue on because you want to be victorious and you want to be a winner. How you find that joy and purpose and fulfillment when odds seem against you. So join us. Join us on our next episode. Again, you can reach me on Facebook at Fitzgerald Reynolds, on YouTube at Kenneth Reynolds 7660, and on Instagram, one time BEL, that's ONETIME, behind enemy lines, BEL1. Hey, look, again, I enjoyed it. We'll see you on the next show. But remember, if you are going to win the battle, you've got to stay in the fight. Peace and God bless.